Gonna try and make this video, but I got my little girl in the room, so she might interrupt me a couple of times. But going to have to disagree with you on this topic of going to lethal force over a can of pepper spray, because they're just two different worlds. And my perspective on it is just my years in law enforcement and being and using pepper spray and being exposed to it. Matter of fact, I think I've been sprayed with it 5 times this year, going to different incidences and whatnot, and just overspray accidental in the line of duty. But anyways, knowing what pepper spray does and knowing what I know about it and how I look at it as how I'm trained with it, it's a control weapon. It's a weapon you use before you go to deadly force. Same thing with the Aspeton, the taser, and the pepper spray. These are control weapons. When somebody's not complying with you, you use these hopefully to get them to comply with you. It's used in my line of work and in how I use it. It's used for control. It's not. I wouldn't go for it if deadly force is presented or bodily harm in front of me. That's my state code. Bodily harm or fear for your life. If you have those facing you, you have the right to use deadly force. So going to a can of pepper spray in that scenario would never happen to me, and I would never do it if I'm faced with bodily harm or fear for my life. That's just me, and that's just how I look at it. And if you're carrying a can of pepper spray and you're carrying a gun, if you're to that level where you're carrying those weapons, you should know the difference between the two weapons and know when to use either one or deploy either one. You know? And the downside of pepper spray is I've seen it not work. I've seen it not work on plenty of occasions. I've seen officers in certifications get sprayed and it didn't affect them. I've seen officers fall to the ground puking saliva out of their mouth because it bothered them. Some body makeup it doesn't bother. Some people it doesn't affect. Also, if sprayed with pepper spray, in most cases if you don't hit direct contact with the eyes or the mouth, meaning in the lungs, then it takes anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds for it to actually work. So if somebody is presenting deadly force or bodily harm to you and you pull out pepper spray and you miss the eyes, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're probably going to be dead because he's still going to be stabbing you while you're spraying. And if you missed him on that 1 second you had to spray him before he slashed you with a knife, even if you hit him, he still might... Even if you hit the eyes, he still might be slashing and stabbing you because it just doesn't, some cases it doesn't work right away. I've seen it not work right away. I've fought people to the ground that have been sprayed with pepper spray because it didn't do anything to them because their adrenaline was pumping and they had alcohol in their system or they had drugs in their system. It just depends on the situation of what's going on. Pepper spray doesn't always work, and it's why it's used as a deterrent weapon and not as a deadly force weapon to prevent a deadly force situation. It's just in my line of work, it's used as a control weapon, not as a defense against deadly force or bodily harm. It's just something to use, and that's the way you should look at pepper spray. You don't pull out a can of pepper spray, you don't pull out an Aspeton, you don't pull out a taser when a knife is in front of you, or when a gun's in front of you, or if a deadly force weapon is in front of you. You don't go for less than lethal force, you go for deadly force, and you should know that when carrying either or. So that's just my views on it. Take it easy.